Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Hello, hello. Best day of the week, but definitely missing somebody.
I know. You know, I don't know if we've ever had a solo episode, just the two of us.
I think maybe once.
Maybe once. Well, it's always sad when we don't have Will, but he's enjoying some vacation. So, you know, I suppose that's allowed.
Yeah, we've each had our fair share of pop-ins and pop-outs lately, so it's Will's turn. We'll give him a break. But only 1 week. Will, you have to be back next week.
Yeah, next week he has to come back. Did you do anything fun this weekend?
Not particularly. No, just good quality family time. So that's always good.
That's really nice.
The neighborhood kids play out in the cul-de-sac, and they're to
Living
the
dad
age that I
life.
don't have to watch as much. So that's nice.
Just go and play. Yeah, we had a kind of a meeting with our Andreas and Iskander, our CEO and CFO, on Saturday morning. Andreas is like, let's go to the beach early, like watch the sunrise, kind of like get out of our normal whatever. And I was like, that sounds great. So we wake up early and we go to the beach, and it was pouring.
In the morning,
I know, but we still had a good time. But we were like, it's gonna be great. We're gonna have all of this, like, you know, all these ideas come to us in the sunrise, and you know, still some good ideas, but not quite the visual.
Right. Isn't there something to like the best ideas come after 1 or 2 drinks? So I don't know if you guys are pouring mimosas Saturday morning.
No, we had coffees, and we did swim though in the rain, which was actually kind of nice. But it was an alcohol-free team meeting.
That's fair. Probably smart. Best to keep it that way.
Well, you know, at 7 a.m. on a Saturday.
Before we jump in, shout out to our friends over at Sojo, keeping the coffee warm for us and the mugs full. So appreciate all that y'all do. We've got a good.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I'm excited to see the happy hour, the upstay one. I can't wait to see some pictures from that.
Yeah, Andrew, send us pictures. We will share stories as well from the team. So hopefully we'll keep it PG rated though.
Yes.
So today is mostly discussions on funding or finance in general, but pretty common that we see a lot of companies announce funding in the fall because that is conference season. We just had Vrbo. Focusrite is kind of the whole travel industry's biggest conference coming up, I think next week down in your neck of the woods, Brandy, Fort Lauderdale. So enjoy for all those that are going down there and making the trip. But you want to kick off with one of your frenemies competitors announcement?
Yes. So Kasa Living just raised their Series C, 70 million. And, you know, I always joke about people, you know, companies like that being our frenemies, but it is honestly really great to see that kind of money is still coming into the space. It gives operators like us hope that, you know, that well has not totally dried up if we go to raise further rounds. And, you know, it's great to see that they're still thriving. You know, it's been a kind of a bloodbath in the last couple of years, couple months. So congratulations to the Kasa team, and it'll be exciting to see what they do with that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but they're trying to do more than just urban short-term rental properties, right? They're trying to do hotels. They're
Yeah.
getting into single family houses as well.
Yeah, I've seen, I definitely know about like the hotels and the single family homes. And I would be very skeptical about kind of doing all three types, but I also think that right now we're in this situation where it's like try whatever you can, like whatever you think is going to be successful. Obviously they've thought about these models and how they're going to well, hopefully they've thought about these models and how they contribute to profitability and are pivotal for their success in the long run. I do think that it kind of clouds, what the core
The brand.
focus of the business, yeah, the brand, and it might just pull your resources. Like even with 70 million, like you only have a certain amount of, I think, like attention as a company to like where you can direct your time. So I'm hoping that they have like three separate divisions that are like, all independently. You seem to be skeptical of that.
No, I mean, I've just seen it before with companies post funding, or anyone that's taken VC is like, well, how are you going to grow? And then, well, I've got an
Yeah.
idea. We already manage apartments. Let's do hotels and houses.
Yeah.
And it's easy. It should be the same, but no, hotels are very different. They expect P&Ls to look very different. If you're only going after limited service, maybe, but they're staffed, and I don't believe Casa apartments are
No.
staffed. So very different business model there. And then, I mean, you guys know better than anybody, but you used to have a number of homes, and you've
Yeah.
cut them for a number of reasons, but it's just a very different business model. And just because you're great at managing homes doesn't mean you're great at managing city center apartments, and vice versa. So
Yeah, it's also just like a total different, I mean, personnel wise, logistically, like dealing with how you manage. Like, there's so many things I think that, especially with the single family homes, the logistics of just driving, like your drive time, how much time is going to be wasted. You can't, like, scheduling things becomes a total nightmare. So, unless all the homes are like in the same neighborhood, it becomes like
well,
traffic, and especially in South Florida, it becomes like a bigger thing than you would think.
let's not miss out, or skip over the obvious, which is also all the different owners.
Yeah,
It's
all the
one
different,
thing
yeah.
if you have one owner and 80 units in one building, or one hotel owner and 25 keys in the hotel. But if you have 25 vacation rentals, you most likely have 25 owners calling you and asking you questions and complaining about owner statements, and uh, yeah, figuring out who to bill what to, because it's not all one building and it's not all one owner. So it's just a different business model.
Yeah, well, I think then that kind of highlights another aspect to creating these new kind of centers of the business is all the other support staff that you have to probably hire, like hiring more people in your accounting department to deal with the owner statements or the different piano. If you have the different hotels, like maybe there's different styles of accounting that have to be used, and it's just like there's a lot more that goes into it. So, I mean, definitely congratulations to the Casa team, but I hope that everybody's taking a big, deep breath before they go out and deploy all the money.
Yeah, I mean, and not even to mention the software side. You've got softwares like our sponsors Track, who can do
Yeah.
hotel style inventory as well as short-term rental single home style inventory. But if they are trying to be a tech platform, I don't know if they use a PMS or not, if they built it themselves. If they built it themselves, it's going to be vastly different uh, type of business
Yeah.
operating a hotel and single family homes than what they're used to. So I would not look past the software complexities that might arise out of trying to diversify your inventory set.
Yeah, there's actually just so many things that are running through my head right now about that. Like, just if you use, like whatever operations management system that you use, like might work, like all the automations, everything that you've set up for it might work well for your current setup. But then like hotels probably use something totally different. Oh my God. Yeah. Like the software part of this is
Yeah,
anxiety inducing.
you you got to have Track and you got to have Sojo
Yeah.
if you're going to be trying to
Yeah.
get into both of those segments. So
Yeah.
uh,
Use the link in
yeah,
the show notes, Casa, if you want to get in with them.
yeah. Um, Cool. So the next one's a very interesting one, and I mispronounce this one all the time, so correct me if I'm wrong. But Samara is um, a new business by Joe Gebbia, one of the founders of Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
It is a prefab backyard kind of studio / one bedroom unit type of accommodation. And they raised a Series A of $41 million.
That is such a big round. And
which for Series A, that a billionaire is starting for a logistics and manufacturing extremely heavy type of business, it's an insane number. So I'm curious if how much of that is weighted on pre-orders or actual sales, and how much is actually weighted on Joe has built $1 billion business before, so maybe he can do it again.
yeah, I think that what I learned in our fundraise process, which surprised me, I guess, maybe I was just a bit naive, but like emotion, like it's not totally rational. It is like, it could be, he's done it before. We trust him. He'll do it again. Here is all this money to go do another similar business. And it's like, I think that I would wager that had a pretty heavy weight to it.
I mean, what's the valuation, right? You're talking 100 easy, probably close to $200 million valuation if you're doing a $40 million round. So
And
I don't get it. I don't know how a Series A is going to be that big for it's not a software business. It's not scalable. Like, it's only as scalable as how many manufacturing facilities you have.
Well, and there's only so many tiny homes. And I know that there was a phase where like tiny homes were all the rage, and that was like, but that seems like very fatty to me, like that's, and so that there definitely has to be like a ceiling on how many people are buying these. And it's supposed to be specifically for short-term rentals. So
yeah, what if there's a backdoor deal with Airbnb that they're going to start buying them and giving them to all of their people?
yeah.
All right, let the rumor mill run. All right, so Airbnb buys all of their top performers an additional 1 or 2 bedrooms in their backyard, gives it to them free, finances it for them, and still, I mean, that's still a crazy valuation for not a SaaS business, but could be interesting. I mean, they're good looking units. I'd love to have one in my backyard.
Yeah.
But
I
wouldn't
was
pay
thinking
200
maybe
grand for it.
exactly. Well, and the whole point of these tiny homes was that they're supposed to be like super cheap, and that was like the appeal. But I could kind of see people creating little communities, like little compounds of all of these, but I still don't really see how you get like the money. I still don't see that as like a $200 million business, but
Yeah, there are incredible properties. I'm getting to know the outdoor space quite well, and there's some incredible properties that are tiny homes scattered around 50 acres.
yeah.
And it's awesome, fantastic. But I mean, their price compared to some of the others that I've seen is 50 to 100 grand more, and the design isn't any better or worse than a lot of the others on the market. So, it definitely comes with the name Joe Gebbia, and he's earned it, right?
Yeah,
One of
for
3
sure.
founders of a $90 billion business, but this one is not as scalable, and shoot, those are expensive. I just can't get over. My first house was 250 grand, and it was a lot bigger than a backyard studio apartment.
I know. Well, I wonder if there's just something that we're missing. Like, does he know something that we just haven't seen? So that'll be kind of interesting to track. I mean, maybe we could go stay in one once they come online and see what all the fuss is about. We've got quite the list of places we need to check out in person, starting with some castles.
Yep. We're getting more and more. We're up to 13 now, so we keep growing. It's good. The last funding that I want to discuss today before we move into, I guess, our secondary topic, which will be interesting, is my dear friend Humphrey over at Superhog has pulled in his Series A. It was 5.5 million euros, I believe. I've seen conflicting reports there. Skift has it down as $6.8 million. So kudos to the entire Superhog team. Good luck with the growth and the acceleration of the product, and we're rooting for you.
Yeah, it's great to see that too. It's, friends of the pod. It's great to see them have a win, and their whole team is wonderful. So it's going to be really exciting to see what they come up with next. And before we dive into our next meaty topic, we just want to give our sponsors at Track a shout out. It was great seeing all of them at Vrbo the other week. If you're looking for a new PMS, definitely check them out. We have a link in the show notes. And so now, kind of the juicy topic, I guess this was talked about at Vrbo too, but is Google and their presence in our space.
Yeah. A report came out last week that I kind of had to like stop and reread a couple of times because it's very hard to believe from a number of different angles. But basically, advertising payments from Expedia's Vrbo to Google have gone up 10x over a 5-year period and allegedly failed to increase traffic after Google started showing their own vacation rental product alongside flights and hotels. So it is Jeff Hurst, former Expedia Vrbo chief, said in 2015 they were paying $21 million a year to Google's ads for Google's ads. And by 2019, it was $290 million and got
crazy?
zero additional traffic. If that's not anti-competitive, antitrust, then I don't know what is. I mean, we've long known that Google's top ad spenders are Expedia and Booking. And as soon as Google got into it, I'm very curious if the same has happened to Booking as well. But that's one. I don't know how you keep spending that much money if you're Vrbo. Like, how do you keep going if you're not getting an increased traffic?
Right. Like at no point in any of those years, they were like, you know what? It hasn't worked. You know what?
It's like double down.
Every year. But also, and this is from the 290 million number is from 2019. That's many years ago now. What has that continued to be? And I think that it kind of shows this vice grip that Google has on everyone. I think sometimes as a consumer, you get into these like, oh, like they have all my data and all this stuff, and people worry about that. But then you look at some of the biggest companies in the world, and even they are in this like vice grip of like, well, if we stop spending just to test out whether this is like worth it or not, that could be detrimental. So maybe it's just worth spending the money not to risk it. It's crazy.
I mean, honestly, this is the biggest counter argument to Book Direct that I've ever seen, right? If you think you're going to go spend money on Google ads and get direct bookings and Vrbo can't do it, or they can do it, they're doing it for you, and they're eating smaller and smaller margins as it goes on. I mean, let the big boys spend their money and you focus on, repeat business or some other avenue, because that's not a great omen for the Book Direct movement.
Mark Simpson is yelling at his iPod or phone right now.
Hi, Mark. Curious your take. Very curious your take. But
yeah.
I mean, what's your take? Like, this can't continue. If what's alleged here is in fact true, I don't know how you can't have a very significant lawsuit on your hands if you're Google, and potentially reversing course on your entire travel segment. Because if this is happening to Vrbo and vacation rentals, it's happening to Delta on flights or Marriott on hotels. So
yeah, well, I think a couple things on the Book Direct side of that. I think it shows that you that there is a ceiling to how much your spending will achieve, you know? So I think, you know, if someone's going after a book direct strategy, knowing that like there's a certain amount of money that will benefit you, but you're going to hit, there's like, don't just keep throwing money at the problem. But then I definitely feel there are lawsuits either in works or coming, because Google is getting attacked on like a lot of fronts for this kind of like antitrust, anti-competitive behavior. And I'm just at Vermin there was talk about how the OTAs are being pit against each other. Like, oh well, Booking is spending X amount, Airbnb is spending this amount, and Google's just playing them all to
Yeah,
get them to
we'll
spend
collect
more
all your
money.
money and we'll do it ourselves and take that money on top
Yeah,
of it.
they're
Yeah.
taking their money in two ways. So you're taking all of the ad spend, which, you know, there is a little bit of a gamble. I mean, Google has made it part of the product offering is that it's almost guaranteed who you can reach or how much money, how much revenue you can achieve if you spend X amount. So you're making like a pretty safe gamble. And so they're taking money from them in that respect because they're taking the money and then the gamble is not paying off. And then they're also pushing their own products to have people book with Google instead. So I think that is it's double dipping for sure.
Do you think Google looked at the publicly traded statements of Expedia and said, "Oh, Vrbo margins are way too big. Let's throttle them back." Like
Yeah.
that, cynically, that's very possible. I hope. I mean, that would be an open shut lawsuit case if that was the case. And but Google has all of our data anyway, so I guess they could scrub some of the data. Don't cancel
Well,
us, Google. Don't
don't
cancel
cancel.
us.
Yes, please don't cancel us. This is healthy debate. But that is this problem where we've all become. I mean, there is no other search engine or company that is even comparable. So we're already in this hole. And, you know, if some regulators decide to break it up at some point, that's going to take a very long time. So this is the world that we're living in. I think it'll be interesting to see what like 2019, like we said, that was several years ago. I really wonder what the trend has been in the last couple of years, if they were able to analyze this, you know, 4-year period and realize we spent 10x in, you know, the hundreds of millions and received no benefit. If they just kept it even, did they pull back or did they continue to double
I
down
mean, the
and that number is
platform
even higher?
grew, the user grew, so they probably continue like we grew by this
Yeah.
much. Let's increase spend by that much. But I mean, it consolidation is great for every industry until you get down to one. And
Yeah.
you know, it's great that the consumer can choose Airbnb, Booking, or Expedia. It's great that the consumer can choose Delta, United, Southwest, American, Alaskan, whatever. But when you're going to spend ad money, it's Google. Like when you're
Yeah.
doing search engine ad spend, it's Google. Like I don't know anyone that spends money on Bing.
No. I remember when we used to, and I was like, why? Why are we spending any money here? And, you know, I kind of compare it to when I book flights. I mean, I always I'll book usually direct on whatever site, but I'll go and like look based off of the Google flights. I don't think I've used another OTA for flights in a very, very long time. So, you know, I think the only maybe like blessing is that Google I don't think has really nailed down the vacation rental option that they have. And so that, you know, it's still not super smooth. So until they really nail that down, but I mean, then when they do, then they really are the like dominating force. And, you know, Booking goes to page like 3 of the search and no one ever
Yeah,
goes.
they're trying to toe the line right now because they know if they go full all in with travel in general, that there will be antitrust lawsuits. But you don't want to bite the hand that feeds, and the two biggest ad spenders on Google are Booking and Expedia. So tough to like kick those aside and say we can do this ourselves. But at the same time, yeah, they still have to grow, right? They're reporting to
Yeah.
shareholders too.
Well,
So
but I imagine, I mean, we're having these conversations so far after like all these decisions are being made. There are like the people that are leading these conversations. I mean, they all know that this is happening. And I can't imagine that anyone at Booking or Expedia is just like, yep, that's totally fine. So it's, I mean, I'm sure either we won't know for a long time or we'll never know kind of like how those negotiations go. But I mean, that I can't imagine that for 4 years, no one at Expedia was looking at those numbers. Like, that just seems crazy to me that they would let that spending go on unchecked.
yeah, and that just now it's coming out
Yeah.
another 4 years later. So
Yeah.
it is a bit sus, as the kids would say.
Oh, you're
But
so cool,
yeah,
Michael.
look at that. Check that out. Yeah, I heard it on Elon Musk and Joe Rogan podcast the other day. So if they can say it, I can too. It's mainstream enough. But yeah, I'm curious how this plays out. Google has kind of slowly but surely gotten more and more into the space. So curious to see. I mean, if you work for Google and you're listening, would love to have you on.
Yeah.
That'd
Well,
be a fun discussion.
it was funny at a conference last year. There was people from Google that had a booth, and I went to talk to them, and they like couldn't say anything. Like any question that I had, they were just like, they had their very polished, very well done presentation, and they had their key party lines. But like, if you ask them anything out of that, they're like, "I'm sorry, I can't answer that. Can't." So I'm like, why come and have a booth if you like it can't really? I mean, all the questions that people are asking are like fair questions about how they're going to be interacting in the industry. And they're like, nope, we don't have that answer for you. It's like, then don't put yourself in the limelight until you do have the answers.
Yeah, I saw, must have been maybe 3 years ago at Focusrite, Facebook showed up. And it's like, okay, that's really interesting. And we've seen with companies like Dharma or Trova Trip, this rise of influencer led kind of travel agent, new age travel agencies led by influencers. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing, Meta / Instagram representatives start coming more often to industry events.
Yeah.
Because it does make sense. You essentially do cut out the OTAs, or Google in that case, from the commissions, so it can be cheaper as a traveler, so more profit, more margin for those organizing the trips or the destinations. So gotta love the travel industry. I mean, what is it? 10% of the world's GDP is travel based, so of
Yeah.
course it's gonna be really competitive.
Yeah, well, it also sparks creativity. And I think one of the kind of threads that goes through all of these things is that people are trying, I mean, everybody's trying to figure out how to to have more of their money stay with them. How do we cut out some more of the middlemen? And I think it'll be interesting to see. I'm as cringy as I find some of like the influencer travel stuff, I do think that is kind of an ingenious way of, trying something new.
Yeah, I'm very bullish on the influencer marketing stuff. I've heard, I mean, it totally comes down to the influencer, but I've heard really, really good things. I've also heard, total fall flat on their face types of things too. So it does come down to the quality of the influencer, just like the quality of the channel for any marketing spend. So wonderful. Well, that went by quick.
I know.
We miss you, Will, but hope you're having a good sleep in this morning, I guess. I don't know what you're doing, but hopefully you're enjoying whatever it is.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next Monday.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.